What's going on, you guys? It's Scott from Fly Rides. I'm back again today, and we're doing another eMTB review because y'all just eat those things up like no. Today, I have for you the Cube Stereo Hybrid 140 HPC Race. It's got 29er wheels, you guys. It's got the Bosch Gen 4 motor. It's a Performance CX. Oh my gosh, how exciting. It's a new geometry. It's been updated. It's a little bit more aggressive, actually. They're calling it Agile Trail Geometry. Very cool updates to this bike this year. It was one of the most popular bikes of 2019, and they've only gotten better. Let's dive in a little bit deeper, check out the specs, and talk about the Cube Stereo Hybrid 140 HPC Race. But before we do that, let's talk about some of the other bikes that are in this Cube Stereo Hybrid 140 setup. Cube has a bunch of eMTBs this year, and it is a widespread, all the way from 120 millimeters of travel up to 160 millimeters of travel. In the 140 class, which is going to be kind of your general all-mountain bikes, everything is going to be carbon framed with an aluminum back end. It takes away some of the extra weight that is added by the Bosch 625 watt-hour battery. Cube is always thinking of stuff like this, which is why I love them so dearly and want to give them lots and lots of kisses. Cube is always thinking of stuff like this, and that is why they are ahead of the curve so much of the time, and why last year's Cube Stereo Hybrid 140 SL was my top pick for the top eMTB of 2019. They have also kept up with the market by going with a 29er wheel set on this all-mountain series within the 140 stereo hybrids. All 29er wheels on these, and the geometry is very much an all-mountain setup. So these bikes are a little bit more all-arounders. If you're looking for something more enduro, a little bit more downhill, a little bit more aggressive, you're going to be looking at these 160 bikes from Cube, which there are a fair amount of as well. So the bike that we tried out is the Cube Stereo Hybrid 140 HPC Race, which I've said a couple of times now, so keep up, you guys, okay? The HPC Race is closer to the entry-level side of the 140s, but it comes with excellent components. The fork, for instance, so it's the RockShox 35 Gold. This is a brand new fork from RockShox that they kind of released on the hush-hush. I didn't hear a lot about it until this bike came out, so I'm going to link to a full written review on this fork below. But to give you a quick little breakdown, it's just below the Revelation and performs really well. 35 millimeter stanchions. It uses the Devon Air spring, which is comes on the Yari. It came on a lot of them. I believe it came on some Lyrics, if I'm not mistaken. I might be mistaken though, but like, just come on, give me a break here. But I really dug this fork, actually. I was expecting it, honestly, by the name alone. I kind of judged it based off of that. I wasn't expecting it to perform that well. It's pretty awesome. I would say it's pretty on par with the Yari or the Revelation. It's a budget fork that performs excellently. So really well done to RockShox on this, and a good choice from Cube to use this because you're keeping costs down and also still performing pretty well. In the rear, you've got the RockShox Deluxe. Still going to have 140 millimeters of travel on that as well, and I'm sure you guys have used this. If you haven't, then you probably haven't ridden an eMTB before, and I can't help you with that. But you should. Your drivetrain on this is going to be a SRAM NX derailleur in the back. It's the NX Eagle, going to have 11 to 50 teeth on the cassette and 12 speeds. Your shifters are going to be the SRAM SX, which I had not used before. Just a one-click shifter, works pretty well, nothing crazy about it. Dropper C-post, of course, because it is an all-mountain eMTB, and if you're getting one of those without a dropper these days, you're pretty much not keeping up with the market. So, good job, Cube. Proud of you. So what is this updated geometry that Cube keeps bragging about? Let me tell you. A little bit more aggressive on the head tube and seat tube angles. Your seat tube angle is going to be 75.2 degrees, and the head tube angle is 66 degrees. So it's going to be more aggressively built. Also, every bike, if you're seeing a bike without shorter chainstays and it's got the new Bosch Gen 4 motor on there, that company's doing something crazy. They've shortened up their chainstays. You got 457 millimeters this year. Should make it more playful. You've got Shimano hydraulic disc brakes, front and rear on this. It's a 203 millimeter in the front and a 180 in the back. Of course, on all these stereo hybrids this year, the 140s, the 160s, everything is going to be that Bosch Gen 4 motor, brand new. Let's talk a little bit about it because everyone seems to be obsessed with talking about it at the moment. I have some other videos that talk about it a little bit. I really enjoy it, especially on the eMTBs. The out-the-gate power uphills is just remarkable on the Gen 4 motor. Really dig it. The coupling on the Gen 4 motor is a lot better than the Gen 2, some significant upgrades there. I would like to address some of the noise complaints that the Gen 4 motor has been getting. In my opinion, it's about as noisy as the Bosch Gen 2, and I think that complaint was way overblown as well. It's a motor, it's going to make a little bit of noise. It's still incredibly powerful and incredibly quiet. You're not dealing with a vacuum cleaner out there or like some sort of motorcycle motor. It's still pretty quiet, you guys. So that's my opinion on it. It's about as noisy as a Gen 2, which I never had an issue with in the first place, but it is significantly more powerful and half the size, as you guys know. So I've talked a good bit about this bike, and you guys probably want to see someone ride it, I'm assuming. So let's start with Hector. Hector's going to descend on the Cube Stereo Hybrid 140 HPC race. Let's see what he thinks, because he's a better rider than me and also just oh so handsome. Hector, what do you got?
All right, hopping on the Cube Stereo Race HPC. Let's do this. Right off the bat, these 29ers, I think they're 2.6s front and rear, tearing it up. Oh yeah. Let's choose the inside ride on this side. Feel nice, good control. We're powering up with the Bosch motor right now just to get through that little bit. Picking up some speed. Hit this rock garden, not too bad. And the suspension feels really, really good under this bike. Hard on the brakes. 4-piston Shimano brakes. Feel really good, nice and smooth for the descent. Picking up some more speed. Oh, this is great. Feels so solid. Whoa! Little rock garden. Hit that one rock. It's my favorite rock on this trail. All right, fast straightaway here. And a hard left. Hard on the brakes again. Feels real smooth, full control. This part of the trail starts to get really gnarly. If you don't have a full suspension bike, you're gonna start feeling it right at the bottom. It's really shaky. Not sure if you guys can see this, but there's a lot of rocks and bumps. Solid bike. Huge power pack. This Gen 4 motor is really kicking ass. I'm on eMTB mode right now. Let me look down. I'm in a higher gear, but I'm barely pedaling and this thing's going. Again, all planted. I'm not slipping by pushing more power down with my legs. Very high, very good in control.
So my thoughts on this bike in terms of when I rode it, it climbs so well. I love a bike that can climb. I am a bigger fan of climbing. That's part of the reason I like eMTBs, is because it's fun to climb. It turns it into an extra bit of the sport. You can also tell it's a little bit more playful, a little bit lighter weight than last year's bikes. I'm loving the fact they use the Kiox display on here for eMTB usage. I'm a big fan of the Purion or the Kiox. It keeps things small, but you still get a fair amount of information. What I didn't love is the way that the Kiox display is mounted. I would love to see that updated. It just feels a little bit like if I crash, something might happen to that Kiox display. So I would love to see that updated, hopefully in later releases later in the year. I'm not sure if that's planned at the moment, but there's got to be a better way to get that display on there, in my opinion. The Bosch Kiox display, though, is pretty awesome. It connects to the Bosch smartphone app, which I would recommend. It also connects very easily to almost any heart rate monitor. I always use the Coros Pace GPS, and it's just a really nice feature to have in there. So, obviously, as I mentioned before, last year the Cube Stereo Hybrid 140 SL was my favorite eMTB of the year. I thought it overperformed where others underperformed. They just did a great job with it. And I think this year's bike, similarly, is going to be a top bike. It's probably in my top 3 of the year in terms of what I've ridden so far. And it's definitely worth a look if you guys are looking at eMTBs for 2020. If you're looking for something with the new Bosch Gen 4 motor, I will say, so far, at time of recording, this is definitely my top choice eMTB. Really, really excellent, and it deals with the bigger battery pack really well because you're getting that carbon frame, so it keeps the weight down while you're getting the extra battery. If you don't have sensitive little ears like everybody else seems to, the Bosch Gen 4 is not too loud for me. Again, about as loud as a Gen 2 motor, and gosh, so much more power. Just a really fantastic setup. I think the 140 millimeters of travel is going to be pretty good for most riders. Again, unless you're really out there shredding, just going downhill 30, 40 miles per hour, and that's something that you want to be doing, then maybe look at the 160s, but otherwise the 140 I think is excellent for about 90% of the market out there. So I would highly recommend checking out the Cube Stereo Hybrid eMTBs if you're looking for an all-around mountain bike that comes with some of the freshest tech right now and performs really well. But it is still an incredibly approachable bike from a beginner standpoint or someone who's kind of more intermediate because it's got a lot of uses to it. Like this video, you guys, and subscribe to this channel. If you want more eMTB reviews, let me know what you think of the Cube bikes if you've ridden them, and also let me know what bikes you want to see reviewed below. All right, thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time. I love you so much. Thanks for watching, guys. We will see you next time. Until then, you are special.